Hayley and I have been in the CrossFit space since 2011, and throughout that entire period, we've been around a lot of athletes that are very good. We've also trained with a number of CrossFit Games athletes, people that are kind of like at the tip top, and there's a lot of people that are good enough to qualify for the CrossFit Games. They move a certain way, they breathe a certain way, and the first time that we like for real trained with Bethany, I was like, this girl is different than them.
My thoughts of Bethany before I met her were, she carries herself so well on the floor.
Her potential was like a ton. And if we can just get this girl healthy, she's gonna be a force. My perception of her, it was actually interesting because I didn't know her personally before we talked, and I only knew of her from what I'd seen at the CrossFit Games, in the media, and from Alexis Raptis, who actually is good friends with her. And so I heard a lot of great things, and I was looking forward to the conversation.
Seen her on Instagram, thought she did some really cool stuff, accessory work. That's kind of, I feel like most people's initial thoughts, like, oh, this is really cool, this is unique, like, I'm gonna steal this, I'm gonna use it. So there was a lot of that. I actually met her at a strength and conditioning conference, and we didn't interact much at all. I said hello, and she was very standoffish. I think I asked her if she was training that day, because there was a group of people just kind of training and there was just like an open period of, you know, get a workout in. And she's like, nope. I was like, cool. Seemed like she wanted nothing to do with me. So I was like, man, like, she's kind of stuck up. That was my initial thought. She reached out several months later, and completely different. One of the initial things that stood out to me that was appealing to me about her is she's very like fly by the seat of her pants, or especially then, like didn't always have a plan going into things, which I'm very structured and want to know what's going on, want to know what the plan is. So that seems kind of counterintuitive, but it's almost like opposites attract, right? So there's a part of me that wishes, oh, I wish I could do that. I wish I could just show up somewhere and not have a plan and like have fun, you know? That was also an initial thought, and that's definitely how she is. Because I've been around her 24/7 every day, it's like we've kind of rubbed off on each other. I go into things with less of a plan sometimes, and then she's more like, she'll start the day with like, this is what I need to do. This is how I need to warm up. This is how I'm gonna recover. And so I think it's helped us both out a ton to be around each other.
I call him my #1 advocate because I think an advocate is someone that is gonna love you no matter what. It's not based on anything. It's not, if you do this for me, then I'll do that. It's not on accomplishments, not on anything. And so I think he just helps me like really work through a lot of things. Our relationship really took off, and I just saw all the extra effort that he was putting into our relationship, even with just traveling. So I was just like super grateful for that. Like, him working at the Lakers and being in season and traveling with them for every game. And they would be gone for, you know, a couple days or a couple weeks, and then he would spend his 12 hours by flying out to Las Vegas and hanging out with me. And so I was just really grateful for that. Also, I think a big part of it was switching over to Perrin, my coach. I think just continuing just to build a relationship with her, but even before we even really started programming with each other, and like the amount of talking that we did with each other.
Yeah, I got a text message actually from her agent Cooper asking if I was taking on any clients and if I would have interest in talking to her. And so we set up a call with her and Randy, and I met them over FaceTime, and we just kind of talked about what she was looking for, what her needs were, what her thoughts were going into the season, expectations from a coach, and all that. And it was, I don't even remember how long it was. It was probably a while. All of our calls, I swear, don't go less than 2 hours.
Even when I started with her, I was still not feeling mentally great about competing next year or this year in 2023, because I was just like, I just don't know. She started making it fun again in the gym. And fun for me is maybe a little bit of a different definition for other people.
But yeah, I think that was like end of August maybe, and then we kind of stayed in touch for the next month and started coaching in October of 2022.
She like never gives me kisses, so she's doing this for the camera.
She is going to smash this event. Smash it. I'm really excited to watch you do this like every day.
To be quite honest, I think a lot of the time, like a lot of our competitors don't reach out to one another because of the circumstances that Bethany and I were both in. I was pregnant, she was injured. The walls kind of were like knocked down. We both needed somebody that understood. I think we just understand what it takes to be out on the floor and what it feels like to not be doing the thing that we do that everyone knows us for.
In 2021, that was an amazing year. I had moved out to Las Vegas and kind of went all in with CrossFit for the first time. It was very successful all the way up until 2 days before the CrossFit Games started. In 2021, I went out to semifinals and got first place and was feeling great, feeling really awesome. Both mentally, but also just really physically, just feeling like I was in a good place. My back was starting to hold up a little bit more and I was like, okay, this is it. Got out to Madison, Wisconsin, and we were still doing COVID testings at that time. Unfortunately, 2 days before, I started feeling pretty bad, and intuition told me that I had COVID, and when I tested, there it was.
We were supposed to go to the games. We were all, the whole family was supposed to go.
Yeah.
And so we had to, back out.
Was this 2021?
Yes.
Yeah.
Had COVID, was out for the 2021 CrossFit Games, and it was a tough blow, but was able to mentally and physically recover from it. After that, 2022 came around. That was probably one of the toughest years. I felt like made it past the open, was dealing with a lot of issues with my back and just emotionally kind of in a really tough space. And then quarterfinals came around a couple weeks later and my back went out on me during an event during quarterfinals, which left me out completely for the whole season.
You remove CrossFit, like she's just a good person. Win or lose, it doesn't matter. We're wired in similar ways, and I think you want to start to surround yourself with people you want to be more like so that everyone gets elevated. Bethany and I do have similar values, and not just Bethany and I, but like Josh, Randy, Bethany, and I. And I think we're all on a similar path. We're trying to like literally elevate everyone, right? Like we want to bring everyone up. And I just feel like we're kind of like at the same point in our life to where we can do that.
I don't know that it was ever fully accepted that I wasn't going to be here for part of it. And honestly, I was going to do everything I could. We had games potentially on Friday and Sunday. Friday was a home game, so it'd be like a situation where maybe I was here for this portion and then leave for the second event. I think that was going to be very frustrating for her, but if it's an NBA game, that's like very, very hard to miss in the playoffs, in the Western Conference Finals. But every chance I got, like we would have had to take it off Sunday to play a game in Denver had we made it that far. So I was going to take my own flight and try to be here all of Saturday, take a red eye out there, and definitely would have missed a little bit, but you know, I think it worked out how it was supposed to, and I'm here for all of it, thankfully, and trying to help her as best I can, and she keeps a good mindset on her own, but I think she just feels a little comfort from me being around, so.
She's extremely intentional with her entire life, and that she puts things in place that are gonna set herself up for success on a daily basis.
I was listening to this interview with like golfers, and every golfer is like, do I have the ability to win? Yeah, I do. Is it gonna happen? We'll see. And so that's kind of how I see my mindset this weekend is like, do I have the abilities to qualify? 100%. Is it gonna happen? We'll see.
Having support from all these different people in your life that you trust to lean on makes a successful athlete. I think every athlete needs a team to be successful. It can't just be one person. You need all of the pieces. I don't know where we're gonna be at the end of this competition or 2 months from now. I think she's always had a very good head on her shoulders, even during times that were really difficult. And I feel like even though it's hard, she always knew what success meant to her. And that was really just continuing to chip away at improvements and going into this year not being in a state of fear and not being in a state of pain.
It was a fun workout, but it's always grueling when it's like a really long workout, and that's kind of what we got with this. The bike was great because we actually had new monitors, and so it felt like you were in altitude in the sense of like the bike was flying, and I was like, wow, this is great. Like I actually felt really good on the bike, but the caveat was it was the opposite on the runner. So the runner, it was like the old monitors, so it felt extra slow. And so like when I was training, I usually run around like 14 to 16 kilometers an hour. We were at a 12, and that's just what it was. It was like 12 to 13 the entire time, and I was just like, well, everyone's kind of at this pace, and we're just gonna move through this. I think with the monitors, I always just think that if mine's weird and messed up, everyone's is weird and messed up. I never like single myself out because I don't know, my mind never goes to that for some reason, which I'm really grateful for, and I guess I'm naive in that sense, but I'm like, well, if my monitor's messed up, everyone's messed up, you know? So I think if you're the opposite of that and you're just like, oh, it's just mine, and then you single yourself out, then you're just gonna waste energy on the floor thinking about that. But yeah, so I was like, well, everyone is running slow and we're all just in this together. We're all in this together. High School Musical. And I would say the sled was, honestly, I was gonna know after the first pull how it was gonna go. Pulled it and I was like, okay, we can pull it. This is great, awesome. Throughout the floor, there was parts where it was like sticky, so I had to just, you know, deal with it when it was really sticky, and then there was parts on the floor where it was a little bit smoother, and so I was able to kind of just not easily pull it, but pull it with a little bit more ease. And, you know, it was just a give or take throughout the whole workout. I felt like it was pretty even. Like I never felt like my arms really were the issue until I would say like the last pull where it was like a little bit longer. My Achilles are sore out of everything on me right now. And it was a lot of lower body and just getting your feet steady and using your toes and stuff like that. So shout out to toe spacers. We got it. But no, it was overall, I think it was pretty even throughout the body, which I think I was grateful for that, because doing an actual hand over hand sled, like that's straight up biceps, and that would have been, I think, a lot tougher throughout the whole weekend if your arms were blown up after this first event. So we'll find out after event 2 how I'm really feeling, but right now I feel okay.
I was like
worried about,
just nervous because the unknown, you know?
Yeah.
And I knew it was gonna hurt.
Yeah.
Real bad.
Well, good job. Proud of you.
on Sunday, and I was like, "Where's Bethany was here?"
Yeah.
Hi, baby.
Hi. How
Sorry,
was
that
it?
was like way harder than I meant.
Oh, that's cute. Nice.
Even the runner, I was like,
Yeah, the runner. I think it's like the old monitor, the old screen.
Yeah, I got on there and I was like, well, I hope it's the same for everybody
Yeah,
else.
it is. It is. Yeah, it was. Everyone's talking about it, so
yeah.
yeah.
Pass out feeling.
Yeah, go rest. Go rest.
Bethany is so calm out there. It's so crazy because like she's just tunnel vision. When I've been out there, I'm like looking around, like I'm making sure everyone in the crowd feels my pain, where she's just like, everybody's blocked. And I'm like, wow, that's cool that she can do that, because I don't know how to do that.
Honestly, that first sled pull, I was like, okay, we're gonna see what this looks like, because I have no idea.
I was kind of like, oh my God, she's starting. You know, now I guess I know what it feels like to be one of the husbands, or, you know, one of the people waiting at the end of the lane for the person that you're cheering on.
That moment is, I'm having that thought, and then, you know, lucky for me, it's like, okay, she's got this, right? But it's like a complete unknown, and I've just learned to honestly trust her, because this whole season's been about that. You know, she's like, this is the way we need to do things. I'm like, okay, this is the way we need to do things, and it's just gonna be what it's gonna be, and luckily it's turned out pretty good.
Coming into event one and just the weekend in general is not necessarily how she's gonna feel during. I think she knows that she's not at 100% coming into this. Her conditioning level isn't where it's been, you know, in the past, say like West Coast Classic a few years ago. Not to say she hasn't put the work in, but she's had constraints. Sometimes her back isn't where it needs to be to do certain movements, so she has to work around it. So she wasn't necessarily as worried about like performance, or like she knew certain times she's gonna blow up and feel that lactate build up a little bit. But it was more so, how's she gonna feel after event one? How's she gonna recover? How's her back gonna feel? Because when your adrenaline's going, you're on the floor, all that goes out the window. You don't always feel all the stuff that's going on. You're just pushing, and then you sit down, relax, and that's kind of when the little aches and pains come out. So I still don't know how she is, you know, 30 minutes after. I know after the event one, test one, she was feeling great. So there was no pain during, which is a big win, and I think she has a good score. We'll see how everybody else does today, but did a great job that first one.